So how do you create a brand that truly represents who you are and the products you sell, as well as building a business that you can scale online? That is what this podcast will help you do. My name is Henry Kaminski Jr., and welcome to the Brand Doctor Podcast.
Let me just make this statement loud and clear. Jersey's here, Jersey's here.
What's shaking, everybody? Welcome to another Brand Doctor Podcast episode. Today's conversation is going to be all about how to build a powerful brand on social media. And if you think I'm going to talk about all these different tactics and hacks, you got it all wrong. Me and Awais are going to talk about and have a very candid conversation about what it takes to create a powerful brand on social media and some of the personal experiences I've had with doing that over the past 14 years, and specifically over the past 7 that I've really been on social media, and how that has affected my life personally and professionally and what it's done for my business. And so before we get into that, guys, real quick, just want to remind you guys that if you guys want some clarity and focus around your brand's messaging and marketing and positioning online, I highly, highly recommend you sit down with me and we go through the assessment process, because you're going to find things. I am going to pull things out of you that you are not ready or might not even see. That's the whole thing about getting help. They allow you to see things. Those people that you reach out to, they allow you to see the blind spots that you don't see.
Exactly.
So highly recommend you book that brand assessment with me. The link is in the description, and I look forward to helping you get that clarity and focus, because with clarity and focus comes results, right? So let's dive in. So one of the big problems I'm seeing, especially in the online space, is everyone's following everyone else. And there's no originality. There's no point of view. Nobody's taken responsibility of their opinions.
Take a stand.
They're afraid to share those opinions because they feel like the world may or may not approve of them. And so I have been experiencing some things over the past couple of weeks, I'd say the past month, that have been eye-opening and life-changing. And I'm going to share that with you on today's show, because this is what it takes to create a powerful brand on social media. I want to empower more leaders in this world, because everybody has that. I shouldn't say that. That's false. Everybody has a unique quality about them. Not everybody is equipped to lead. But one of the things that I see is a lot of the people that are attracted to my content and that are following me, they have that edge. They have that leadership edge. They just don't know how to package it. Maybe they don't know how to position it. And I want to help you guys with that. And so some of the things that we need to understand, and just going to keep this real. You guys know over the past year, it's only been 10 months of 2021, and I have experienced a tremendous amount of death in my life. My dog passed away in August. I had a dear friend die suddenly, massive heart attack while he was sleeping, 43 years old, 7-year-old kid at home. We have a niece who is going through leukemia, and it doesn't look promising. It's not if, but when at this point, from what I've gathered. And it's making me put life into perspective. And I'm saying to myself, do I want to live this life and then get to the end and say, oh man, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, and then be disappointed in myself because I had so much more to give, but I was so worried about what other people were thinking. And so my question to you is, what lights you up every single day? What makes you happy? It could be little. It could be big. How do you define success? What are the skeletons in your closets that you haven't addressed yet? My wife thought I was crazy the other day. Let me share the story with you. I come down with 3 of my 4 watches. I come downstairs and she goes, where are you going with those? I was like, I'm going back to the jewelry store. She says, what, you're selling the watches back? You got money problems. You're obsessed with those things. I said, no, I don't have money problems. But I woke up today realizing that I can only wear one of these son of a bitches at a time. And there's a Rolex shortage out there. And I know that Rolexes are hot right now. So if I have an opportunity to make some money here, I'm going to go explore that. Yeah. So I took them down to, so now rewind 5-6 years ago, that would have never been the case. My ego was too big and I was too proud of those damn things. And I would have never, ever done this. So I go down to the jewelry store and they haven't seen me in a while. And I says, what's going on? And they're like, I haven't seen you in a while. What the hell's up? And I said, a lot. But here's 3 watches that I bought from you over the past 3 years, and I want to give them back. So I had all the paperwork in my pocket of what I bought them for, all the certificates, everything. And I said, what do you give? What could you give me? So the guy gets on the call with some guy. I don't know who he was talking to. And he was like, I got 3 watches here. They're XYZ watches. It was like a Yachtmaster 2, a regular Yachtmaster, a gold one, and a Datejust 41 millimeter. Big face. Nice watches. And I hear him rattling off numbers, prices. And in my head, I'm like, holy shit, I didn't buy that watch for that much. So he gets off the phone and he takes the calculator and he punches in the number and he says, this is what I can give you.
For each watch?
No, total.
Okay.
Oh, wait, it was 15 grand more than I bought the watches, all 3 of them for. I made 15K. I said, okay. So he had the guy count it up and I walked out of there with a sack full of cash. And I walked out of there saying to myself, man, how did I just do that? And what I realized was, I know who I am now. I know who I am now. And I don't need materialistic shit to show people how successful I am. I don't need it anymore. So when I got home, I was like, oh, my friends a while back told me that the used car market right now is insane.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got a truck that I'm interested in dumping because I don't like the $1,500 a month payment anymore. So I put it up on Swappolies. This car is hot. This truck. I've been getting calls all week. It's only been up a week.
Wow.
Guy calls me from Tampa yesterday and says, I want the car, but I got a car dealership has to do the processing. I said, all right, well, call me tomorrow and we'll work it out. But he asked me, why are you getting rid of the truck? It's a beautiful truck. And I said, I'm downsizing. So people are looking at me like I'm insane because I'm making these big changes and transitions in my life, especially around money. And they're concerned that I'm struggling. And I said, no, I'll show you. I was talking to my wife this morning. I said, you want to see my accounts? Like, everything's healthy. Everything is healthy. I am looking at my life differently because I don't need the stuff anymore. There's nothing more comforting, in my opinion, than having options.
So what do you think has changed in terms of what you valued 4 or 5 years ago versus now?
That's a great point. And so what I realized was, and it was right when I bought this truck a year and a half ago. I remember driving it off the lot. And I swear to you, this is what I said. You did it again. I wasn't even happy that I got the truck. Like, I wasn't excited. And I just didn't have that excitement. I was like, you did it again. You made a purchase to show people that you're successful. And I said, when are you going to stop? And what really hit me was when I restarted therapy a month ago, this EMDR therapy. It's a really cool way of getting to past traumas in your life and getting resolve from them. And getting back to those things in my life in the past that has happened that made me so insecure. I said, those people don't serve me anymore. That feeling doesn't serve me anymore. Those things don't serve me anymore. You know what really serves me? Doing things that I'm very happy with. And it could be as small as taking my dog for 3 walks a day. My wife thinks I'm nuts, but I go for like 3 big walks a day with my dog because it's so, therapeutic to me. I'm able to do things with my son that I wouldn't be able to do if I didn't have my own business. I do things. We're creating these experiences inside of my family that I can't put a dollar amount to. Yeah. That's how happy that's how happy they make me. Hearing my son say to my wife this morning that he's got the best mommy and daddy on the planet. Can you really put a price to that? Like, I can't, there's no, that value is at a priceless level.
It is.
So what I realized was nobody does really care about that stuff. And then I had my mindset coach say to me, I just got back from this event and it was interesting to see a lot of the people there that have masked a lot of their insecurities through money and fame. And there's other folks that are wanting that money and fame to mask insecurities. And that hit me. That really hit me. Because I said, I'm not alone, am I? And when are you going to, talking to myself now, change? When are you going to change?
Yeah.
Because I heard this acronym, which really aggravated me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. It was the name Henry. And it was ironic that the acronym was Henry. And it said, what it stood for was high earner, not rich yet. And the person that was talking about this was considering himself a Henry. And I took a step. I chuckled at when I first heard it. And then I like dissected that whole concept down a little bit. And I said, well, what does rich mean? Because rich to you may be a different rich to me. So it's very subjective.
Yeah. How do you define that wealth?
Yeah. So I immediately did some like internal deep dive and was like, what does wealth mean to you, Henry? And it came to mindset. That's wealth. Wealth is a mindset. It's not a level of bank account. Because when you get around old people, and the reason why I say this is my grandparents are dead, all of them. I think, yeah. And I'm not close to my grandmother, and I think she's the only one left. But my wife's grandparents are still alive, right? 96. He's going to be 97 this year. And her grandmother's, I think, 92 or 3. You think they care about how much money is in the bank account? No. You know what he said to me? We went to go visit them yesterday. It was a Sunday. And you know what he said to us when we walked in with my son? He said, this is what brings joy to us when you guys show up unexpected. And I was like, that's it? That's it? That's all it takes?
Yeah,
So-
it's crazy how things change in different phases of someone's age.
And I think that's what's hitting me always.
Yeah.
Like at 41 years old, I'm saying to myself, if you ever want to really get ahead, it's not through materialistic things. It's about being happy with what you do. And
I like what Michelle said.
Yeah.
Having a lot of options.
Yeah. Michelle here, our live listener, says wealth is not about having a lot of money. It's having a lot of options. And that's really, really what it is. And there was this quote that showed up in my journal today that I want to share with you that really triggered this conversation. And the quote was, don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive. And then go and do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. And it's interesting that's all showing up for me, because I recently had a conversation with Chris Doe, and he said the same damn thing to me. He said, if what you're doing isn't making you happy anymore, then why are you doing it?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man. And I said, it's not that I don't love what I do. I love what I do. But I don't love how I'm doing it.
And think about it like this. Like, how is that actually carrying over into what's being produced as a result?
Correct. And he said, well, Tell me about that. And I said, I'm getting consumed and overwhelmed with the tactics. You got to have your videos this way. You got to have your videos that way. You got to post 17 times a day. You got to do that. And I am not going to become a slave to social media. For my own freaking mental health, one, and two, I need to set an example to my son that you cannot live by views and comments and likes and stories and reels, and you cannot live your life around those. Like, you got to live your life and let social media revolve around your life. It's two different things. I heard Oprah Winfrey say the other day in one of my morning meditations, she says, you need to get into the driver's seat of your life, or your life will drive you. And I felt earlier this year that life was driving me. I wasn't driving my life anymore because I was getting so consumed with social media tactics. And I just said, I can't do this anymore. And so I started getting involved in other things. And, that's where I got my Lego hobby. And then I got, doing different things with my family. Yesterday we went to this big giant mall. It's called American Dream. It's right by Giant Stadium, MetLife Stadium. And it's insane how big this place is. There's like multiple amusement parks inside of this mall.
Oh, wow.
And to see my son flipping out over seeing Chase from Paw Patrol walk by him and slap him 5, like, that made my day. And I was like, I need to do more of this because life's too damn short. Seeing people like drop like flies that are close to me is not fun, and it's a little scary. I'm not going to lie. So how does this all tie in to creating and building a powerful social brand, a powerful brand on social media? Well, I'm doing it right now. I'm sharing with you some points of view. I'm sharing with you some personal stuff. I'm sharing with you some things that really bother me. And I'm sharing with you some things that light me up. This is what it comes down to. It's not about who's got the most views and how you're doing your reels and on Instagram and what your LinkedIn profile looks like. Yes, all of that stuff has some sort of weight to it, but it's ounces compared to pounds.
And I'll say one thing, Henry. The ones that are truly allowing for all this to control them, they're going as far as showing up inauthentically, paying for their followers, paying for the random comments that are showing up.
It's ridiculous. And I just say to myself, like, what in the world was I thinking? To think that I had to drive these cars and wear these things for people to notice me. I'm going to share with you something I don't think I ever shared with anybody in my life. When I was growing up, especially in my dating days, there were women that I was interested in and wanted to pursue a relationship with. And I was like, I'm such a catch. I got a good job. I got nice things. Why wouldn't you date me? And these women saw right through my bullshit. They saw right through it. And I'd be like, how the hell is that girl dating that guy? And here I am with my, with being very judgmental and being everything that you're not supposed to be. I'm like, how the hell did that happen? The guy drives a Toyota Corolla. Didn't matter. The guy was living his life the way he wanted to live it. And that girl saw that in him and was like, that's my guy. And that happened a lot. And it made me realize that it's not the outside. Maybe at first, you have to be physically attracted, in my opinion. You got to be physically attracted to somebody. They're spiritually attracted to somebody. But it wasn't until I realized, like, no wonder why I'm not getting the relationships in my life that I want, because I'm not keeping it real. And those people see right through it. There would be influencers that I would reach out to, and I would get no response. And I'm like, what a douche. I don't know. Are they a douche? Or are they seeing through my bullshit and don't want to be associated with me because they see the bullshit?
This takes me back to one of your posts probably 2 years ago. This has just stuck with me. So I'm going to turn that into a question and ask you. I'm going to ask everyone in the audience and ask myself this. What are you attracting through what you project?
So, what I don't want. Think about it. You know what I mean? It's like, and again, I take it back to, I'm studying a lot of dog training now, and I'm listening to and studying Cesar Millan. I just love this guy. I know some people love him and hate him, and I just love this guy. I see a lot of him in me, and I just connect with this guy. Never met him. Just we got a vibe going, right? And he said, dogs are simply the mirror of their owners.
That's true.
So when they're acting out, it's not the dog, it's the human. And that goes for humans too. You're going to attract what you're putting out.
Exactly.
And it's so interesting because there's people that have come into my life in certain times of my life, and it was horrible. And it made me realize, looking back, there's no coincidence there. Look what you were putting out into the world. The world just gave you what you were asking for.
Yeah.
And that's a big aha moment for me and life lesson. So if you go out there and just be yourself and not worry about what people think of you, and you stand behind your point of view, then I think you're going to live the best life. I think that's wealth. That's success. You asked before, like, how do you define success? When you're doing what you love to do with the people you love to do it with, when you want to do it.
Yeah.
And I wish that there was a formula for that. In my opinion, now that I'm talking this through, I think the formula is what I just said, is doing what you love to do. That's it. Like, not even thinking twice about it. Dom Fawcetti comes to mind right now. He's a client of mine for years. And I just seen this guy progress over the 4 years that he's committed to his business and putting himself out there on social media the way he does. That guy is truly finding himself and being so transparent with his life. He doesn't have to do that. He chooses to do it because he wants to influence people and impact people in ways that they've never been impacted before. And that's powerful. So you ask, these are some things that you really got to ask yourself if you want to develop a brand online or to develop just a brand period around you, around your expertise, is again, these questions. What lights you up? What makes you happy? What makes you come alive? What does success look like to you? Because that's what matters the most. Don't worry about how much money people make.
Or beyond that, just stop comparing.
Yeah, I put a post out there yesterday about that. I'm still guilty of that shit. And I think that's where I finally said enough. Because
it's human nature, man.
It is, because I say to myself, like, how do you know that you're doing well if you're not comparing it to something else? How do you know that you're getting robbed on a job or a project if you're not comparing it to something else?
Yeah.
Like, there is a time and place for comparison, right? But if you're letting it run your life and letting you get depressed, then that's the issue, right?
Exactly.
I think there's a healthy comparison that we need to explore. We don't have enough time to talk about that today, but I think it's important. But you gotta, at the end of the day, remember who you are inside and out and what that looks like. That's what it comes down to. And what are you doing? What you're doing? What are you doing it for? Like, we had just had this conversation with a brand accelerator client today. I asked him, I said, what got you into this line of business? You could do 1,000 different things. And he said, Henry, when I started my professional career, I got thrown to the wolves and was told, go figure it out. And I remember what that felt like. It was 30 years ago. I remember what that felt like it was yesterday. It was scary. It was uncomfortable. And quite frankly, I don't want people to ever feel that way, because there's something about me that likes to see people improve. I like to see improvement in my life. Not just with me, but with the people around me. And that's why I got into this line of business. I said, that needs to be heard by the world and the universe and your audience. That's why people are going to connect with you. And then elaborate on that through your content, through your podcast, through your social media presence. Talk about that. That's what people are going to connect with. And then that's going to lead to a conversation. And next thing you know, there's going to be clients coming out of it. That's it. That's how you build a powerful brand on social media. So I know that there's parts of this conversation that you're going to resonate with. There's parts of this conversation you're not going to resonate with. But I wanted to give you an example of how to build a powerful brand on social media by doing this episode the way we did it. And if you have questions, if you want to dive deeper into this conversation, then hit me, email, DM, comments, where you know how to get me. I can't, it's easy to get me on social media. I'm on all the platforms. But I really want you to understand how important this is. Because the reason why you're not getting the clients that that you want could be that your messaging isn't aligned with who you really are. That's the biggest takeaway that I want you to understand today. So it feels, honestly, like 1,000 pounds have been lifted off of my shoulders, selling those watches back and making a freaking, I got paid on those watches what people, where some people, that's their annual salary. I'm getting rid of this truck because I don't want the weight anymore, because I don't need it. Think about what life would be like if you lived your life every single day just in pure joy, because you were living a life that was aligned with how you felt. And you weren't worried about so much what other people thought or said. And you just did you. What would that look like? I'll leave you with that. That's what's going to create a powerful presence, because people are going to vibe off of that and say, that's what I want. Tell me, teach me, show me, guide me, lead me on how to do that in my world, my way. So let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Drop me a review, drop me a comment, give me your biggest takeaway, share this on social media, tag me, because I will make sure that I repost it and give you a shout out. And I appreciate you guys. And had I not gone through all of this year and over the years, I wouldn't have this story to tell. So I hope this served you in a way that makes you think a little differently about life. So have an amazing day, guys. And I'll catch you on the next one real soon. Take care.